Now to a use of force investigation underway in Atlanta after a two-vehicle accident earlier this month led to multiple 911 calls and ultimately a struggle with one of the drivers, 62-year-old Johnny Hollman. Police say Hollman was at fault and was uncooperative once authorities arrived. They attempted to deploy a taser. Hollman first became unresponsive and later was pronounced dead at the hospital. Joining us now is Johnny Hollman's daughter, Arnitra Hollman, and attorney Linsey Davis. Arnitra, first just want to extend our condolences. We are so sorry for your family's loss. We understand that there is a witness video from the scene that the family has viewed. Tell us what you believe happened that night before and after the confrontation with police.
I believe whatever happened, they killed my daddy. And that's what I've been saying since the thing. My dad called me. The last time he called me was at 11:57. When he called me at 11:57, he called out twice. And he said, baby, baby. He had the phone placed on speaker. I proceeded to hear him asking the officer, why are you doing me like this? You know, you're going to treat an old man like me like this, you know. And then the officer was very aggressive and outraged as he was going back and forth with my dad. My dad was begging. And my daddy, I heard him after that saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. He asked for help 3 times. He was like, somebody help me, please, please. And after that, I didn't hear my daddy say anything. When I got to the scene, my daddy was already dead.
What were you saying during that conversation with your dad?
It was like I was on speaker, so he wasn't like the phone was physically to his ear. I could just hear him, you know, back and forth, you know, asking for help, saying he couldn't breathe. But physically, I wasn't like, he wasn't holding the phone. He had the phone. When I retrieved the phone was on the truck and it was still going. I could hear like the radio, I could hear the officer, I could hear like, you know, when the sirens and stuff was coming, I could hear all of those things. When I got to the scene, I was very irate. I was like, y'all killed my daddy, and I heard it. I was like, my daddy asked you several times to help him. He was telling you he couldn't breathe. He kept saying it over and over. My dad has chronic asthma, and he's had it ever since he was a child. If he tells you he can't breathe, you have to stop whatever you're doing, and you have to see about him right then.
Mawuli, what are authorities in Georgia saying about the body camera footage from this incident? Does it exist? When do you expect that footage will be released?
It's our hope that we'll have that body cam footage released this week. We have a meeting with the city tomorrow to begin discussing their disclosure of all of the evidence that they have so that this family can have answers. And that's the biggest thing. What Arnitra was able to hear versus what is being said don't fit. And the bottom line is we just have to have access to that video in order to have a better sense of what happened. Obviously, it should not have happened. This was a simple traffic accident. You should be able to go home after a traffic accident. You should not die out in an Atlanta street because you're in a collision and police are too aggressive.
Protests against the Atlanta police are planned for later this week. The autopsy is still being conducted. From your perspective as an attorney, are investigators in this use of force case being transparent about what happened that night? You're saying that something doesn't fit. I'm curious what you think is the departure from what they're saying happened and what actually happened.
The issue is there is no basis to arrest a 62-year-old man who's around the corner from his home. Again, there is discretion. Even if the officer felt like he was at fault, there's no reason to try to handcuff him. And then they tased this. He's a deacon at a church, and they're tasing him, and he's just trying to, again, call out for help. And so, you know, I know the community is outraged about this and that there will be a protest on Thursday. And the family and all of the people who loved him deeply will be there to show their support and demand justice for him.
Arnitra, as we just heard, your father was a deacon at his church, a grandfather to 26 children. For those of us who never had the opportunity to meet your dad, give us a sense of what he was like.
My daddy was my best friend. Like, I miss him so much. Like, he did everything for us. And my dad always stayed in our lives. Like, he kept all 5 of his kids together. He loved his grandchildren. He loved his great-grandchildren. They was like his joy. You know, my daddy, he had so many people in the community that love him. It's so many babies that have been crying and crying out. Our kids are crying out. They just don't know where to go. Cause like our daddy was our rock. Like that's what we depended on. That's who we looked up to. Like my daddy was my hero and I was a daddy's girl. Of course, I'm the oldest. So now I'm left brokenhearted.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we extend our condolences. We thank you both so much for talking with us. We will continue to do so in the coming weeks and months ahead. Thank you again for your time, Arnitra and Mawuli. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate you as well.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.